Vale. Pues nada. Sudadar es confiar directamente. Sí, no, me da... Me da palo, tío. O sea, me da toque. Me da toque, tío, lo siento. Vale, 24. A subirlo un poco más. Ahí. Ahí está. Vale, confirmar. Vale. Bueno. Chavales, chavalas, vamos a continuar nuestras periplas por el mundo de Stanley. Parabol Deluxe. Ultra Deluxe. Espera, momento. ¿Qué pasa? Antes de empezar, ¿puedo decir algo? A ver. Es por configurar la hora las 2 veces que iniciaste el juego. Mucha gente no se toma en serio este paso. Deja el reloj entonces en adelante. Toma, Shanks, toma. Pero tú tomaste el tiempo de configurarlo y te lo agradezco. Ahora sé que esta experiencia es importante para ti. Estás prestando atención. Ni siquiera tengo forma de saber si la hora que pusiste es la correcta. ¿Sabes algo? Hagamos un trato. Como cooperaste, la próxima vez que inicies el juego y veas esta pantalla, pon tu hora favorita en el reloj. Adelante, elige la hora que quieras. Aunque no sea la correcta, te lo ganaste. Bien, ya te dejo que vuelvas al videojuego. Ok. Qué grande el juego, tío. Enorme, tío. Vale, luego hago eso. Vale. Vamos a darle. Vale. ¿Qué hora pones? Las 3:18. Ojo. Esto se puede saltar, ¿no? Vale. Perfecto. Vale. Logro desbloqueado. Hola de nuevo. Ah, vale. Esto es que cierras el juego y vuelves a abrirlo, creo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¡Mi cubo!
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again. Not truly alone. Not with the bucket around.
Ajá. Wow. El easter egg de aquí de encerrarme aquí ya lo hice, por cierto. ¿Puedo hacer la trama de...? ¿Se podrá hacer aquí? No creo.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Vamos a ir por... Es que no me acuerdo cuáles no hice, tío. Vamos a ir por aquí. ¿Cuál era la parte de las cajas donde te puedes puto matar? Que quiero ver si encuentro allí la figurilla. ¿Por dónde se iba a las cajas? Derecha, vale.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Es genial el bucket. A ver si hice algo más estando aquí. Me parece que no.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
The bucket was
Stanley took the door on
wrong.
his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope.
No, said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Allí está la figurita. Ahí está la figurita. Ahí. Ajá. Ajá.
You're getting close,
Nice.
Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anarines.
¿Esa es la que te
Very
falta?
soon,
F.
You'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then.
Ahora te leo,
Different in the
Sergi.
sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anarines. None of us can.
Ok. Ayer fui a la expo, encontré a mis amigos. Mi amigo Alan me dijo, dale pelea de esgrima. Me salvó que estaba cerrado. Había personas jugando a Quidditch. Ah, sí, en la expo siempre hay peña jugando al Quidditch. Es bastante gracioso. Me hace mucha gracia. Había gente del Smash, no sé si estuviste con ellos. ¿Qué hago? ¿Me tiro? Había un final que era tirándote, pero... Igual ahora puedo... Uf, podré zafar. Igual no me mato, tío. Vamos a probarlo. Si no, luego venimos. A ver si puedo... Aquí, a las cajas estas. ¿Había gente más? Sí, había. Parece que hay hueco. A ver. ¿O dónde? Al inicio, a ver. ¡Ah, sí, aquí! ¡Oh! Sí, a ver. Oh. ¡Ojo! ¡Wow! ¿Eh? ¿Y esto? ¡Wow! Uf. Buah, zona de cajas, tío. Se puto bien, ¿eh? ¡Ay, Dios! ¡Oh! Putos cassettes, tío. Narrador, diálogo, narrador, diálogo. ¡Hostia! Diálogos todos, tío. Putos cassettes, tío. Son todo grabaciones. ¿Lo pondrán desde aquí? Vamos a destapar esta tapadera, tío. Era una puta tapadera todo.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real.
Chao, Pato.
The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently.
Le está dando con el bucket, tío.
In my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just
Lo va a prostituir, tío.
with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me.
¡Ay!
What's that? Who's there?
¿Cojones? ¿Hola? O tomar por culo. ¡Oh! A tomar por culo, tío. Yo quería ver si había algo de Odyssey y no encontré nada. Lamentablemente quiere decir, mira, bueno, no sé el clip. Va destruyendo todo. Hail Bucket. Sí, yo siempre lo pillo. Ay, Dios, tío. ¿Voy allí sin el cubo?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
¿Prueba a ir sin el cubo?
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Pero fuiste sin el cubo, ¿no? Ey, Raúl, ¿qué tal? Venga, vamos sin el cubo. Y eso lo cierro.
When Stanley came
Vale,
to a
vamos.
set of 2 open doors,
Cállate.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But
Que le tenga
eager
esta
to
room.
get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. No, no, no fui a la expo,
Stanley
no
was
fui a la
so
expo.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Con el cubo no. Uy, igual se puede clipear por ahí y ir hasta ahí arriba. Vamos a venir por aquí. Yo quiero volver a probar luego a tirarme. ¿Cómo es que había gente con el Smash? Porque tenemos el grupo de Smash Galicia, estoy dentro de la comunidad y lo comentaron. ¿Qué? ¿Qué? Y además el fast él, y además el fast él, y además el fast él, y además el fast él. For Magnus. Cállate.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was
Pues
all
sí.
just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
A tomar por culo. Nada. Puto nada, tío. Le encontramos la tapadera, tío. Ah, tengo que quedarme aquí. Esto era un final también. Pero con el bucket no podemos hacer este. Bueno, no un final. Aquí esto no sé si hay easter egg o algo. Ah, cerrando era. Ahí.
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will
Claro
be
que sí.
happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer.
Y cada vez menos.
Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Dios. Pues muy bien.
All of his
Vale,
co-workers
vamos
were
a por el
gone.
bucket.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Vete.
simply the good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Nos falta una piecita, Que era de rojo y azul, tío.
Stanley
Voy a probar a
clasped the
tirarme,
bucket
tío.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling
teoría,
him that the
morías.
employee lounge was simply the place to
Vale,
be.
perfecto, thanks. Si no la encuentro, te pregunto.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The
Ya voy a probar a
bucket was
tirarme
wrong.
ahora.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the
Ojo.
cargo lift.
Uf. Aquí. Voy a tirarme las cajas esas.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Y ya está. Pensé en comprarme camiseta, pero dije, pues solo traje tarjeta, exacto, no traje money. Es peligroso ir con dinero a las expos, tío, porque da ganas de comprar muchas cosas. Acabo de descubrir que existe un mod de Portal 2 llamado Portal Reload. Voy a probarlo. ¡Ojo! Ya me dirás si cunde.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Vale, vamos a ir por izquierda ahora. Vamos a ir por donde ponía escape. Y estaba el Vaporeon, un tío disfrazado de Vaporeon, pidiendo abrazos. Somewhere both red and blue. En algún lugar ambos rojo y azul. De Vaporeon, no. Es que hay un tío súper mítico desde hace años que siempre va de Vaporeon pidiendo abrazos. Sí, de Vaporeon. Nos liamos aquí,
Stanley,
Bucket.
we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Mítico para decir cringe, pues sí. Aparte, tío, ese pavo era, te lo juro, se hizo tan mítico que hubo un año que... O sea, que él tenía siempre el traje hecho una mierda, ¿sabes? Súper sucio, súper sucio. Y hubo un año que lo lavó, porque por fin lo lavó tras no sé cuántos años, lo lavó y le encogió. Entonces ya no le cabía. Y hubo una persona que encontró su anuncio en Wallapop vendiéndolo. Y en la siguiente expo apareció con uno nuevo. Pero no, lo estuvo vendiendo, tío. Porque le encogió.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Lo de escape no me acuerdo. Bueno, por abajo no me acuerdo que había. Aunque por abajo ya fui. Vamos a ir por arriba ahora. Ah, es verdad. Abajo te volvías loco, es verdad. Es verdad. Yo quiero hacer aquí la movida esta, tío. No sé si estará en este juego. Ahí. Ahí está. De esto me acordaba. ¿Y ahora qué? ¡Wow! Y ahora creo que implosionaba puto todo, tío. Se va a enfadar. Good luck. Wow. ¡Eh! ¡Qué susto, tío! A ver. Yo me acuerdo cuando hice esto por primera vez, venía con muchísimo miedo. Y ahora un poco tengo, la verdad. No os voy a engañar. ¡Ah! Está abierto, ¿eh? Buah. Sí, 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 sí. Volvemos al puesto de trabajo, ¿eh? A ver. Ah, esta está abierta, es verdad. Se abría esta. A ver, ¿y esto qué era? You are now leaving. ¿Y si hago así? No. Red and Blue. Igual es por aquí. Sí, después hacemos eso, Sergi. Igual no justo después, pero lo haremos. Tío, ya me acuerdo de esto. O sea, bueno, no me acuerdo bien, pero me está viniendo un déjà vu muy fuerte. Escape Pod Bay, Floor 760. Vale, en la 760 en teoría se escapa. Un sitio con puerta azul y roja. Sí, es lo que estaba pensando ahora al ver esto. Que me sonaba cuando te daban a elegir entre rojo y azul, ¿no? O eran otros juegos. Ya no me acuerdo si era en este juego o en otro. Matrix. Sí, aquí es solo rojo. Pero no hubo un final en el que me daban a elegir... en el que me daban a elegir... No, no meme. Entre azul y rojo, tío. Es que me suena que lo habíamos sacado el primer día. Ahí, vale. Pues allí tiene que ser lo de azul y rojo. A las 7:60. Full engañando el juego, tío. 7:56. Yo creo que sí, ¿eh? O sea, antes de que tú vinieras. Me suena. Tío, qué miedo. Quedan 2 pisos. Vamos. Escape. ¡Ojo! ¡Wow! ¡Ah! A ver. Libéralo. Vamos, empújalo. Lo está acariciando, tío. Está enfermo. Ay, Dios. Pues lo vamos a liberar, ¿eh? Sí, sí, libéralo. Ahí está. Liberado. Buah, lo hemos liberado, tío. ¿Salvamos al cubo? Salvamos al cubo. Salvamos al cubo, tío. Vale.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Correcto. ¡Eh! ¡El cubo! ¿Y el cubo, tío? Pues a tomar por culo. Yo lo voy a recuperar otra vez, ¿eh? Me voy yo también. Buah, tío, es que...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Pues yo quiero irme también, ¿eh? ¡Eh! Ah, vale, hostia. Me estaba rayando, tío. Que veía todo amarillo.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Me estaba rayando muchísimo, ¿eh?
Stepping in...
¿Y al baño puedo ir? Baltó, lo funamos al Al bucket, tío. Hemos funado al bucket. Bueno, funado no, al contrario, pero ya no lo tenemos. Ya no lo tenemos, tío. Y sigo bajando, tío. Luego pruebo a bajar. Vale, vamos a hacer justo el ending de antes, pero ahora sin el bucket. A ver si nos podemos ir donde esté él. Vaya, sería la hostia. Vale. Es que, mira, Baltol, hicimos justo este ending que estoy haciendo ahora con el bucket. Y cuando llegamos a como al ascensor este rojo, metimos al bucket ahí y se fue él solo. Y nosotros, no, bueno, lo dejamos nosotros liberado. Y ahora vamos a hacer lo mismo, pero sin el bucket. Sí, la encontré. Me falta solo una. La de Red and Blue, que creo que ya sé dónde está. Pero no me acuerdo dónde estaba esa parte. Luego tendremos que volver a hacer los endings quizá ya al principio. Creo que fue yendo por la izquierda, me parece. Sí, me dijo Sans que si no lo encuentro que también me decía. O sea que si no lo encontramos en los próximos endings, os preguntaré. Confieso que he pecado, que te has visto gameplay. Los endings y eso. ¿O dónde están las figurillas? No pasa nada, todos hemos pecado alguna vez. Ya que el día LGTB o algo así, digo todos con la bandera. Mira, de hecho voy a poner este mote que jamás nadie tendrá. A no ser que a alguien se le vaya la olla. Vamos. Nos vamos. ¿Qué pasó? ¿What? Y acaba así. O sea, no... ¡Esto es diferente!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver, la 426. Vale. Os hago caso. ¡El bucket! Está aquí.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
¿Cómo que este también es el mío? Welcome to the whiteboard ending. Dog mode. Ah, y ahora cuando interactúo ladra un perro. Pues nada. Vale. A ver, ¿puedo abrir más por aquí?
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
Me he perdido escape pod más cubo, correcto.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Tío, no sé qué hacer ahora. ¿Y si hago exactamente lo mismo que antes? No entiendo, yo tampoco, tío. Este juego no puedes entenderlo.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Es que si hago la misma movida y en vez de ir por allí voy por las escaleras por abajo... El del ascensor... Estuve en el ascensor, pero no sé si hice un final allí. A ver, voy a ver. Estuve aquí, pero no sé si hice ending o algo. No, no, es que por eso no quiero perderlo. La verdad no sé cómo hacer este ending. Igual tengo que esperar aquí simplemente un rato, ¿no? Ah, este ascensor no es. Vale. O sea, esto es solo una tontería así, ¿no? Pues no, no sé qué ending es. Si estamos cerca de él, avisadme. No sé si hacer la trama otra vez. No, no la voy a hacer, es que no quiero perder el bucket, tío. El próximo ascensor, vale. Hombre, Driss, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Mira este perro.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos.
Okay.
It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket,
sí, era
he
ese.
didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk.
Pero no quiero meterlo rápido, porque ya lo hice la otra vez.
Did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845?
Por si me daba otro diálogo o algo.
Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Espera, Jack, tenías que hacer la escape ending. Era otro cuarto diferente. ¿Qué hubiera pasado? Luego haremos los otros, no te preocupes. Vamos a hacer todos los que podamos. Vale, en este ascensor decís que hay un ending. De momento aún no. De momento no. Vale, aquí decís que había un ending secreto, ¿no? Bueno, un ending secreto, un ending del ascensor. ¿Y hay que hacer algo concreto y no darle a esto? ¿O darle para arriba o algo? Mierda.
The elevator raced downward,
¿Vale?
plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him,
no me digáis más endings, por fin.
reassuring that in
A no
this
ser que yo lo
darkest moment
pregunte.
of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Vale. ¿Y si vuelvo a subir? Vale, una cosa. El ending que me decías del ascensor... Solo quiero hablar de ese ending ahora, ¿vale? No me habléis de otros endings. El ending que tú decías del ascensor, Baltolo, es... Dices que por aquí o es que hay que hacer algo con el ascensor. Igual podré subir otra vez. ¡Ojo!
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Pues nada, nos vamos. A ver. Uf. Cubo, no pasa nada. Estamos tú y yo en esto.
we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Aún no me cansé. ¡Eh! Me pareció que se había abierto algo. Dios, está... A ver. Vale, no, es como un sonido de aquí. Cunde. Vale. Y vuelvo al ascensor. Por ahí no puedo ir, vale. Okay.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how
ruido
much
hace,
joy
tío.
Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Vale, y si ahora vuelvo a subir, ¿qué pasa? O igual no me dejan.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
A ver, ahora.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing.
Puto nada,
The
tío.
bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all. Only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Pues nada.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
¿Y si vuelvo? Arriba España. Claro, habrá que volver una tercera.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing.
Es que mientras haya líneas de texto nuevas, es que vamos bien.
Through the eyes of others, it would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work.
Los putos Oscar, tío.
For months he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Tus Crypto Bros. Se abrió eso. Stage door. Storyteller. Somos nosotros. Cojones, no quiero preguntar qué pollas es eso, tío. Tres.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
427. ¿Qué me suena este número, tío? ¿No había salido en otro final o algo así? 3 again, 3 again. 3, 3, 3, 3. Tiene 3 cifras. Es algo de tu cuarto donde empezaste. Ah, es verdad. Vale, es verdad. Me suena. Sí. He decidido que me sonaba ese número. Arguiñano. The dude who came up with pizza. Ahí está Mbappé. Bueno, vamos al stage. Pa' dentro.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference.
Hemos roto, Bucket.
There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit. Only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Pues nada, estoy solo. ¿Ya está? Pues a tomar por culo.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Vale, vamos a hacer el de rojo y azul, o intentarlo por lo menos.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. A good bucket,
Vamos.
a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture.
El de debajo de las escaleras, ya es que ahí no perdíamos el bucket. Si tal lo hacemos al final, porque como he repetido, lo hago al final, cuando no sepa qué más hacer. Es que sí, yo creo que lo habíamos hecho. Vale, estoy pensando. Lo de rojo y azul... de momento no me digáis. Vamos a hacer lo de Escape, que a Escape no fuimos. Vamos a ir a Escape. A Escape no fuimos.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Vale.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Vale, ya no te salta la otra movida.
Yes, This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Después lo ponemos, el 333. Después lo ponemos, Chloe. Lo juro. Vale, vamos a hacer escape. Escape from the city. Vamos. ¿Se me pongo aquí?
Stanley and the bucket
Joder, qué susto, tío.
the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it,
Sí, pero con Bucket no sé cómo
at the
es.
end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nope.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Chloe, yo me acuerdo que tú aquí te habías acojonado. La verdad es que da miedo. Al turrón. Dios. ¡Wow! Bueno, Bucket.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death?
Digo yo.
This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
A tomar por culo. Ajá.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
¿The Bucket? A ver. El balde. El balde. Te da la bienvenida a la gran exposición. Te encuentras ante el precipicio del conocimiento, al igual que un balde. La mente humana suele estar vacía como una caverna. Pero gracias a la exposición que tienes enfrente, la mente se llena y se enriquece, se exalta. El conocimiento del balde y su historia es el único conocimiento que tenemos en verdad. ¿Llevarás contigo al mundo lo que aprendas aquí? ¿Aceptarás con mente abierta la información de esta muestra, que podría desafiar tu modo de ver el universo? ¿Cambiarás tu vida y la de tus seres queridos como consecuencia de esta exposición? ¿O harás la vista gorda y seguirás viviendo como hasta ahora entre la oscuridad y la ignorancia? ¡Wow! Filosófico. ¡Wow! Una exposición ahora del balde,
Can
tío.
you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him?
Tío, dámelo.
Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
¿Dónde te lo llevas, tío? ¿Se queda ahí? Sigue subiendo, ¿eh? A tomar por culo mi bucket. ¿Qué final hiciste cuando encontraste la figura de las cajas? Uno de cassettes. Me metí por un túnel de ahí de cassettes. Y luego hice el de la muerte. Pues, mira, el bucket está ahí, ¿eh? Un balde con 2 asas. Imagen de un balde con 2 asas. Tal diseño no se ha creado jamás en la vida real, pues se le considera demasiado peligroso e imprudentemente experimental. Todos los años se condena a muerte a decenas de personas por intentarlo. Tío, esto es como el de... el código da Vinci, ¿no? Ay, Dios, tío. 25 baldes. Fotografía de 25 baldes, la mayor cantidad que se haya capturado con una cámara. El fotógrafo estuvo en shock catatónico durante varias semanas como consecuencia de la euforia que le provocó exponerse a tantos baldes al mismo tiempo. Sí, vamos, 25 hostias, ahí hay 25.000, tío. Vale, vamos para arriba. ¡Wow! Balde infernal. Réplica del balde infernal en el medievo. Este objeto resultaba tan fascinante que desató guerras entre numerosas naciones que pugnaban por su control. Miles de millones murieron, pero la realidad no cambió. Nadie puede controlar un balde. El balde antiestrés. Claro, echas ahí todo lo negativo y ahí, claro. Hail Bucket, viva Bucket. Tío, imagínate tener un cubo así. ¿En el primer juego hacen alguna referencia a los buckets? En plan, como un guiño para un futuro juego. Es que ni me acuerdo, tío. Arte rupestre. Si bien sabemos que los baldes son anteriores a la aparición del ser humano, no tenemos idea de cuánto tiempo antes surgieron. En esta ilustración rupestre se ve cómo nuestros ancestros descubrieron los usos prácticos del balde. Para entonces es probable que los baldes llevaran varios milenios en el planeta. Observa cómo el balde permite que lo utilicen tras haber determinado que la humanidad es digna de sus tesoros. Sería buen cosplay, tío.
No
Stanley.
man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Cállate. El balde colgante. Esta obra simboliza la relación necesaria entre el balde y la humanidad. Por clara que parezca nuestra comprensión del balde, hay algo más que siempre está fuera del alcance. Inevitablemente esta distancia existe por nuestro propio bien. Pues yo me tiro. ¡Eh! Me baitearon, tío.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine.
No.
Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treat.
Si ahora le dabas a empezar de cero, ¿había alguna movida o no? Es que me está sonando muchísimo esto, tío. No sé por qué me suena. No la había, ¿no? Vale, ok. No sé por qué me suena que yo creo que lo hice en su momento, por eso me está sonando.
If only we let Stanley die together, the bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision. A tomar por culo. Balde. Y ya está.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sería la hostia. Sería la hostia, de verdad.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Vale, quiero buscar lo de la cosa roja y azul, tío. Yo creo que ayer lo hicimos. Y me suena que lo hicimos muy al principio. Y muy al principio vinimos por la izquierda. Es por aquí, tíos. Solo quiero saber si es por aquí o no. Es que no me acuerdo. O era yendo por el almacén de allí de las cajas. Por la grúa. Era por yendo por la grúa. Es que me suena que lo hicimos muy al principio. Y al principio hice una por aquí, normal, y otra por aquí por el ascensor. Vale, pues vamos a venir por aquí.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Vamos
But
a probar por
Stanley
aquí.
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took
Tampoco
the
me
door
acuerdo
on
que
his
había
left
aquí.
to go back to the meeting room.
Ah, por ahí también habíamos ido. Pero ya iremos por ahí. En plan, por ese ascensor también había algo. Pero por ahí creo que fuimos con el bucket, me suena.
No,
Vamos por
Said
aquí.
the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The
Yo sé
cargo
que habíamos
lift, yes.
ido.
Go
Yo sé que
good.
habíamos
Said
ido.
the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there.
Oh,
I
¿y si
need
luego
you
me
to
tiro
do.
ahí?
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
Luego hay que
It
tirarse ahí,
should
¿eh?
have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But
Luego me
Stanley
voy a
chose
tirar
not
ahí.
to think about this obvious fact.
Pero
He
después.
was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Ah, este es el final destructor de
In
baldes.
here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again
Buah, es
obeyed
verdad.
blindly.
O no. O era por ahí atrás. Buah, ni puta idea. Ah, el del ascensor, vale.
Now
Ah,
pick up
ya
the
me acuerdo de
phone.
este.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
¿Y si lo desenchufo? Es que esto lo había hecho sin el balde. Desenchufar.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right
Ah, el de
there.
las
Let's take a
órdenes,
look.
¿no?
What is comedic timing? What is comedic
Ah, no, este es otro.
timing? How does it work? How long should it last?
A ver.
How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly,
Buen tutorial,
can it be
bro.
taught in its entirety
Me
within
suscribo.
90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes.
Wow.
Let's dive deeper.
Dale.
If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing.
Cojones,
To
tío.
begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor.
Vale.
Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Vale.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations
Se supone que tiene que haberlo
which
dicho
is
yo
the
en alto, ¿no?
cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled
Parecen
in
Simpsons,
laughter
tío.
in no time at all.
Me encantan las
Just
risas
remember to let them
enlatadas, tío.
Stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to
Dios.
fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very
¿Qué?
existence.
¿Qué es
and
esto?
very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles.
fumada, tío.
All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed and may
Vaya
Earth
porraco,
reign
tío.
supreme.
Vaya porro, tío.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So, with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Vale, volvemos para atrás. Jack porros. Vale, cuando tenga más slots lo hacemos. Ah, ya no te dejan lanzarte, tío. Ahora te ponen estas barreras.
This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be
Pues
in
confirmamos
stitches.
que por ahí hay algo.
Fucking buckets, you'll say. How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Vale. Este final creo que lo habíamos hecho sin el bucket, de todas formas. Ok.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Joder.
We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this.
Claro.
There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think
No me
I
jodas.
need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Está ahí el teléfono. Joder.
We're
¡Qué
back at
susto!
the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Toma por culo.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes.
Esto lo habíamos hecho sin el bucket.
I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it a delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? bucket. Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar.
Ahora voy a hacer el de tirarme por allí, por donde os dije.
Getting away from making fun of Stanley's
Y luego molaría
obsession
hacer el
with
teléfono, pero
buckets.
cogiendo el teléfono de verdad, ¿sabes?
I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos.
Básicamente, sí.
That's what will make
Pero también
me
puedo hacerlo con el bucket.
again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Pero a ver si lo vuelvo a encontrar por mis medios. Si no, os preguntaré. Que de momento tengo cosas en mente para hacer.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Vale.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it no? Never mind.
Vale, vamos a saltar por allí, ¿eh?
Wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Se viene. Danger everywhere. Twitter in a nutshell. A tomar por culo. ¿Hola? Ah, vale. Buenas, Sanks. No podías con la intriga, puto.
No, stop.
Hey!
Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point.
¿Qué
Stanley,
dices?
how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless...
¿Dónde?
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain
Aquí.
a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it.
No, no, yo no dejo el bucket,
This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly.
Pues quito
So much
esto.
of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Ni de coña. No puedo quitar esto, tío. Quito eso y ya está. Joder, me van a funar, tío. Me van a puto funar. ¿Hola? ¿Qué? El club de la comedia, tío. ¿Qué cojones?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
Vale.
Simple enough, right? This should tell
Sí.
us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay,
ver.
let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Sí, si digo que no. A ver, ¿me veo de cerca? No me deja verlo de cerca, tío.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Vale.
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Vale.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
Mierda.
This is a bucket.
Ya era mucho, tío. ¿Qué?
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
A ver, objetivamente no lo es. No sé qué puede sacar el juego de la manga para decir que sí que lo es.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be
Correcto.
honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I'm
Gracias.
starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay,
Vale.
next one. Is this a bucket?
A ver, objetivamente no lo es.
¿Qué? This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket?
A ver, si lo anterior era un bucket y tenía forma de tractor, esto es imposible que sea un bucket. Esto es un tractor.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any
Es que,
of
tío,
us
me pones
know
un
what a
tractor y me dices que es un
bucket
bucket, tío.
Am I a bucket? Stanley,
Sí.
I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with.
Eres un puto
I'm
bucket,
afraid
como
the
yo
bucket
y
is
como ese
threatening
tractor.
to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry.
Eh.
I'm going to erase all buckets from the game
No.
entirely.
No, 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 no.
Here we go.
No.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why
No
did everything
jodas.
disappear? Wait,
Claro, porque
was
todo es un bucket.
everything a bucket?
Claro.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets.
Vale.
Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So,
Ya, ¿y ahora qué
tell you
hacemos?
what? I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And
Vale.
we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that.
Vale,
Who
perfecto.
knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Vale. Perfecto, todo es un bucket. Todo absolutamente es un bucket. Nice.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Tío, pues ahora quiero ir allí, pero sin el bucket. Para hacer aquel final que no me acuerdo cómo era. Voy a hacer eso sin el bucket. Ese quiero saber cómo era.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Vale, vamos para allí.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Hay
I
un globo
realize that
allí.
investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the
Y otro
fact
ahí.
is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Cállate. Vamos. No buckets. Claro, esto estaría en el primer juego. Es que no me acuerdo si tampoco está este final. Me suena que sí. Pero no me acuerdo. ¡Aquí!
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah, Chloe, ¿sabes de qué nos sonaba de la puerta roja y azul? Del Your Turn to Die. Yo creo que era eso, porque esto yo creo que no lo hice ayer. Aquí está.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Vale. Luego habrá que volver a la sala aquella, ¿eh? Me dijo que vaya por la puerta roja, ¿no? Pues yo voy por la azul. ¿Y si la cierro? ¿Y si vuelvo para atrás? Bueno, chavales. ¿PSOE o PP? Vamos.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
¿Lo cabreamos? Lo voy a cabrear.
I still don't think we're
Hey!
communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Voy a ir por ahí. Pues espera, a ver esto.
All right,
Hey.
fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to
See?
find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well,
Hey.
don't let me stop you.
¡Wow!
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback.
Vale, a ver.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Me gustaría saber qué pasa si elijo otras, pero voy a elegir esta. A ver.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Por el culo te la hinco.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try.
¿Y se doy al
Based
3?
on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
A ver. ¿Qué? ¿Qué cojones? $21% de los jugadores esquipea la intro. Only worship... Mierda, no leí todo. This is you? How long does it take you to get to the correct door? ¿Qué cojones, tío? Pero esto será de verdad, tío. Solo el 3% de los players eligieron la blue. El 98% son más atractivos que Stanley. Claro, que te está tomando a ti tomar la puerta azul. ¿Y si voy por otra? A tomar por el culo.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
A ver, un poco sí que me motivó. Pero tampoco mucho.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
A ver.
In this game, the
El
baby
bebé.
crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands
Yo creo que
of
cambian al
family
bebé.
life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
¡Ay! Me está dando pena. Tío. Tío, no quiero escuchar más este sonido. Quema, puto niño, joder, cállate.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
Adiós.
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work.
A ver.
Let's give it a shot.
Ahora dos bebés. ¿Eh?
Aha!
Do you copy, chaval?
What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Tío, es como el juego este de
It
miedo que
seems
jugué, tío.
obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it.
Un
Or
tipo a
to
propósito
fascinate and
erótico.
venture into the experience of total mental depravity.
¿Qué?
So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley, and it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
A ver. Pensé que esto era una tortilla de patatas, te lo juro. A ver. Tío, esto es el Do You Copy, tío. Es literal el Do You Copy. ¡Ojo! ¡Eh! Puedo bajar. Menos mal, Chloe, gracias. Pensé que me había vuelto loco yo. Ay, puedo bajar, qué guay.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Oh, The Witness. Qué bonito. Quiero que sea así todo
It
el juego.
is. It's an open world game.
¡Qué guay!
Good God, quickly block it off.
¡No!
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
Cago en la puta, tío.
Really wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path.
La muralla María,
just
tío.
go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
No.
Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Puf. A ver dónde me lleva este puto. A ver. ¿Eh?
Wonderful.
Rocket League.
See, this
¿Qué
is exactly
cojones?
what I had in mind. Just
Rocket
a nice
League.
big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Dame un balón. Dame un balón que te lo meto por la escuadra.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this
Dámela.
game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think
Pa' River y pa'
surely we
Seagull.
must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Dámela. Me cunde. Vamos. Vamos. Y va Cristiano por la banda. Regatea 1, regatea 2. Puede disparar. Se va a ir el balón por la línea de fondo. Podrá impedirlo. Lo consigue.
Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little
Remata.
story that I worked so hard on?
Y gol. No.
Stanley, I
Gol
have
no.
a thought.
Gol no porque somos
And I realize
malísimos.
I'm not a sportsologist,
Vente, puto.
but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple
Vamos.
balls
Puto.
makes for an even more euphoric sports experience.
Vamos.
I'm going to try it out.
Soy buenísimo,
Here
mira.
comes another ball.
Por la escuadra, Mira. Otro balón.
Yes. Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing.
Tío, ¿no entra el
doesn't it?
balón o qué?
Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
¿Qué? ¡Wow! Para mí todas. Para mí todas. Pero entra. Ay, coño. Pero, ¿quieres entrar? Gracias. ¿Y si me tiro?
Are you? Hold on. What are
Adiós.
you doing?
¿Qué es esto?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Oh, Dios. Filling cabinets. ¿Qué es esto, tío? ¡Eh! ¿Dónde estoy? Esto me está dando bastante miedo. ¿Hola? ¿Hola? Ay, si me he puesto de trabajo. Aquí. ¿Qué es esto, tío? Era un puto guiño esto o algo. Joder. ¡Ah!
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Y acaba así. Tío, ahora quiero ver... Tendría que entrar por la puerta roja y aún hacer más cosas por esta zona del final, ¿eh? Está muy guay, tío. Este final me parece la polla. Este que acabo de hacer. ¡Eh! ¡Eh! ¡Que esto no acabó! ¡Es una ilusión! ¡Es una puta ilusión!
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figlets.
¿Qué?
I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every
Las
last
figuras.
one. Wasn't it
Claro.
just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness?
Sí, la verdad es que sí.
Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
¿Qué?
I would love
¿Otra
nothing
vez?
more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Otra vez aquí, tío. ¡Oh, la zona bonita! ¡Wow! Otra vez aquí, tío. When Stanley found the collectibles. Vamos, chavales. A ver. De momento es como siempre. Ay, ya esto no estaba, tío. Se seguía por ahí. Y a ver qué hay aquí.
Here's where it all
Aquí es
began.
donde empezó
The
todo.
first collectible. Back then we had no
Es
idea
verdad.
of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
No, no quiero pillarlo. Adiós. ¡Eh! Me está volviendo a llevar por todos los sitios, tío. ¿Y si no lo pillo ahora, qué pasa?
And here was the second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
¿Y si no lo pillo, qué pasa? Se supone que el primero lo tenía que haber pillado, ¿no? A ver. Joder, pues me dejó uno atrás, tío.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
Sé que aquí encontré uno, pero no sé si era el tercero. Y este no sé ni cuál era, tío. Boss Office. No, en Boss Office no fue, creo. Yo creo que aquí, pero no sé si fue mi tercero, pero... ¿Fue en el ascensor? Es que este no fue el tercero ni de coña, este fue el cuarto, me parece. Así que tiene que ser esto. O sea, Boss Office fue el del ascensor. Ah, vale, vale, se refiere al ascensor. Sí, yo creo que tuvo que ser este.
Hey, that's
Hey.
exactly right. It was here, behind the boss's office. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them.
Tenías
I'm
3, pues
glad
no.
these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your 3rd time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well,
¿Qué?
I can't actually say I remember being in this room,
No.
but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Que esto no ocurrió. Esto no ocurrió, tío. Que den por culo, tío. No me toquéis los huevos, tío. Esto no ocurrió nunca. Me voy.
This was the 5th mini-stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly.
Este sí,
In
esto lo
fact,
pillamos hoy.
because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
A ver. ¿Qué? Temazo, tío. Tío, vídeo súper mítico, tío, de... Yo qué sé, del año 2000, ¿sabes? De los primeros vídeos de YouTube. Tío, este juego es la hostia.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Wow.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinctly
dejé dos
clear in
atrás.
my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Estás en el presente.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
No.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction.
Vale.
See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more.
Vale. Tenemos 11. Me dejé 2 atrás, pero bueno. Que le cundan al pavo.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Sí, me acuerdo. ¡Eh!
Yes, I love that video.
Vale.
Still
Joder,
don't
voy a tener que
remember the
cogerla.
pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one.
Ya,
Good
es que
room,
esta no me
though.
acuerdo,
Fine
tío.
room.
Yo aquí no estuve en mi vida, tío. Yo no me acuerdo, tío.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Ajá. ¿Y si ahora voy por aquí? No hay nada.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
No me hagas ir para adelante ahora otra vez, ¿eh? ¿Cómo me voy? Ah, era por ahí. Ah, no, por aquí, ¿no? Ahí, vale. Es que hay 40.000, tío. No me jodas. Estamos donde los collectibles, tío. Esto de los saltos.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more.
Pues dame
More
saltos.
memories.
Puto nada. Estamos aquí.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Mi oficina.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be strong.
Reaper Stanley.
I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play
Ay, me está dando
with.
pena, tío.
You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more
A
good
ver.
memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good.
No.
I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Tío, qué pena. ¡Eh! Ah, pensé que no estaba mi ordenador, tío.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Te juro que está
Stanley
acojonado.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Está ardiendo algo? ¿Qué es esto?
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Ya, es que esta va a ser la última despedida, tío. Pero es que a lo mejor ya fue justo lo de antes. Espero que no se acuerde.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No sé qué hacer ahora. Vamos a hacer uno de los de aquí. Quiero ver que están todas tachadas, tío. Es que ¿por qué se escucha eso, tío?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Tío, esto no se escuchaba antes, tío. Aquí no se oye. Tío, me estoy rayando con eso.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. The bucket did not react, except perhaps a tiny glow of
Ahí
warmth.
tienes el guiño, Chloe.
Subtle, yes, but an unmistakable spark from somewhere deep within.
Yo creo que es eso, que va a ser como el último, ¿sabes? ¿No era así?
But Stanley guessed the
Sí.
correct code by sheer luck.
Lo había puesto mal.
Was it the
Había
bucket
puesto
being
8-2,
unlocked?
creo.
Was the bucket guiding him?
Sí, ¿no?
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
A ver, con Bucket no sé si hice... el de obedecerle de aquí del mental control. Ese
Stanley
creo que
and the
no lo
bucket
hice.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
No voy a tirarme.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone
Ah,
in
no
the
me tiré
office
con el
was being
bucket.
videotaped,
Mierda.
monitored like
Pensaba que
guinea
sí.
pigs. The bucket
Aquí ya no
had
se
never
puede
seen
hacer, ¿no?
anything like this, and it very nearly burst into
Ojo.
tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring. But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed.
Oh.
It really wasn't so bad down here. A
Me
bit
cunde.
cold, perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of
Qué guay.
kitchenette that was useful.
No,
for when
aquí
the
no
bucket
mueres,
was
Chloe.
craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In
Qué
fact,
guay.
after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't
Cojones.
usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending.
Sí, por favor.
This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Pues no, no fue el último.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Tío, yo quiero hacer el de ir por la puerta roja, tío. Pero para la puerta roja no puedo llevar el balde, ¿verdad? Vale, vamos, voy a hacer de la puerta roja. Ah, eso se puede volver a hacer. Y puerta roja era... Ah, ya sé.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
Vale, vamos a
left.
hacer puerta roja.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Para adentro.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but
Casi
the
me
fact
caigo.
is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Cállate.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Vale. Red door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The
Se
problem
acaba.
is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now.
Hijo de puta.
Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
¿Eh? ¡Oh! A ver.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Wow.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's
Whoa.
beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I
Si me
think
quedaré aquí
I
toda mi vida.
feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Es el final de la droga, tío. El final porro es este. Wow.
No, wait. Where are you going?
¿No puedo volver? Aquí.
Right.
Ya está.
Where were
Dios. Fumadote, tío. Ay, Dios.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
¿Por qué quieres que me aleje de aquí? Que no, vamos.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Lo he pensado. Porraco,
Good,
chaval.
good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Bonito. Wow. Wow. Mira el agujero negro dentro de la galaxia. A la mierda. Bueno, vamos a matarnos.
No. What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you? No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment.
¿Se
Now,
metió otra vez?
can we please... No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Está sufriendo, tío. Lo está pasando mal, ¿eh?
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Ahora voy más lento, tío, mira.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
Que te den a ti a tu porro, tío. Vamos a matarnos. Ay, Dios, vamos lentísimos ahora, tío.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Tiene que ser un gato. De momento 2 vidas de 9. Toma por
Maybe
culo.
you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Todo lo que sube baja, chavales. Cunde.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Matamos a Stanley. Sí.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Sí, sí que es
Stanley
cruel.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley
Vale,
checked
quiero
his
hacer un
ego
final de la
and then
izquierda.
proceeded onward.
Y luego si no os
Stanley
pregunto
clutched
alguno.
the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Aparte, no salen las cosas... No, tío.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Yo quiero hacer del mental control el normal, el de ir obedeciendo. Que ese creo que no lo hice. O sí que lo hice. O sea, es el de full obedecerle. El de obedecerle todo. ¿Ese lo hice?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing.
Y al llegar allí y darle al otro botón,
now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth
eso suena que lo
and guiding
hiciera.
light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him
Ay, mierda.
always. The
Sí, sí,
bucket
perdón.
would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was
Vale,
it
vamos a
the
hacer
bucket
esa.
knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Porque ese sí que no lo hice.
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yo sé que de allí hice solo uno. De los botones. Pero claro, no me acuerdo a cuál le di. ¿Qué le di? ¿A off o a on? ¿A qué le tengo que dar ahora? ¿A off o a on? Vale, a on.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Vale.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Vale, pues vamos allí.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
Tío, me
Everyone
queda-
in the office was being videotaped.
Me queda la curiosidad de
monitored
saber el
by
104,
guinea
porque
pigs.
pone fuego, tío.
The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was
Ah,
the
va, es
bucket
despedido,
under the
claro.
mind control facilities influence
Claro,
as
es
well?
verdad.
Had the bucket been told to do things
También
it
es
didn't wish to
despedido,
do?
cierto es.
What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raised
En argot
fears in
empresaril,
Stanley's feeble mind.
En inglés es despedido, cierto es.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed
Never.
the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one
Vale, ahora vamos a darle a on.
except for the bucket.
Except for the bucket. Bucket solo quedamos tú y yo. Vamos.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power
on.
over it. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the
A ver.
enormous screen.
¿Qué?
Birds. Silly birds. The control button
Gaviotas,
became
tío.
active again.
Se nota que no son gallegas. Tienen el pico demasiado corto. Silly birds. ¿Un águila real, tío? ¿O una golondrina? Ay, Dios, tío. ¡Oh! ¡Loritos!
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another.
Flamenquitos.
And then it dawned on him.
¡Oh, qué
This
bonito!
wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and
Bardo.
surveilling silly birds all over the world.
¡Qué guay!
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams
Wow.
of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And
¡Qué
Stanley
guay!
was happy.
Un cormorán. ¡Qué guay, tío! Bonito final.
All of his co-workers were
Vale,
gone.
¿me proponéis
What could
algún
he do?
final que no
Stanley
haya hecho?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
No
missed
sé
the
si
memo.
cogiendo el teléfono es otra línea diferente. ¿Sabes? Yendo por la derecha y cuando llego a lo del teléfono, cogiendo el teléfono. Eso no sé si... Ahora la puerta izquierda está Done. A ver. Vale. Vamos a probar de coger el teléfono.
In a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
Vale,
was
para
simply
el
the place to
teléfono
be.
era yendo por el
And
montacargas
here it
este.
was. Had the bucket
Hasta el
turned out
fondo.
to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Tampoco sé si hay uno alternativo por ahí. Por el ascensor es, la verdad.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Era por aquí, ¿no, tíos? Por el montacargas, creo que sí.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride
Ir
the
por
lift
allí, ¿no?
all the way
Vale.
to the top. There's something
Vale.
up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because
Lo que no sé
buckets
si
can't
hice
talk.
hice
But
bomba
Stanley
con el
chose not
bucket.
to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Ah, no hay.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Vale, a ver. Wow.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home.
Sí
where
lo
we
hice,
can go
Raúl.
about life together.
Sí lo hice. Bastante fun, la verdad.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend.
¿Qué
And
cojones?
then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Aquí está. Hola, Stanley, soy yo, tu balde. Oprime Q para llevarme al trabajo contigo. ¿Vale?
The
¡Wow!
Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Sin bucket le queda teléfono, ascensor, conferencia y bajo las escaleras. Ok. Vale. ¿Le di a la C? No, no le di.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object?
No está el
I want to
bucket.
say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Hey, Coffee, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué final es este? Pues es el del teléfono con el bucket. Aquí está. Para ir al trabajo. El de coger el teléfono, pero con el bucket en la mano.
Can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk.
Es un balde, pero es mi balde.
What it will do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it.
No.
It doesn't do anything else.
No, déjame. No hagas caso al tipo que grita. Oprime Z para que volvamos a casa. Vámonos, bucket, que él no nos entiende. Ah, y ventanas sin bucket, es verdad.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
¿Y el de pulsar los botones de los ordenadores? Es ese que lo hice, pero no sé si con bucket o sin bucket. Oprime I para ignorar a todo el mundo excepto a mí. Vamos. Ah, no puedes con bucket, ok. Ya está. Wow.
I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket.
Vente, bucket.
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Ah, es verdad. Cierto, Shanks. ¿Tú crees que existo? No, Stanley. Oprime F para volver a casa. Claro que creo que existes. Vámonos.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdy,
F.
more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Oprime M para revivir una y otra vez el mismo día conmigo. Vamos.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket.
Que no,
Why
coño.
do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Oprime F para ir de casa al trabajo, a casa al trabajo, a casa. F.
Oh no. I'm having feelings.
Qué mal rollo, tío.
Bucket. No, 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 no. What's going
Hey,
on?
¿el bucket?
Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything
Habrá
it
que ir por
asks.
ahí.
What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me.
No.
Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or
¡Cierra los ojos! Los cierro. Vuelve al trabajo, Stanley. Modo sexo, chavala. Pues ya está.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided
Vale,
to
¿con
go to the
bucket he
meeting
hecho
room.
todos?
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yo creo que sí, ¿no? O hay algo que me falte con bucket. ¿Se os ocurre alguno? Que yo sepa, sí. Vale, voy a hacer... Bajaste por el montecargas, correcto. De la puerta... O sea, del montecargas bajé, en plan de que me tiré por el puente con el bucket y llegaba a un sitio que había un cartel que ponía prohibido los buckets. Ah, vale. El destructor de cubos, dices, ¿no? Sí, 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 eso lo hice. Lo que no metí fue el cubo ahí, deliberadamente. Podemos hacer ese tirando el cubo. Ah, igual no se puede meter. Vale, pues voy a hacer ese sin cubo. Adiós, cubo. No puedes, F. Fue Shanks. La regaló Shanks. Tío, Sampi, te perdiste una cosa súper épica al principio de este stream. Tienes que verla.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Vale. Vamos a hacer... A ver. Vale, lo de por la derecha y luego por el ascensor aquel, ¿no?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
Por aquí a la izquierda,
Eager to
¿verdad?
get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got
¿De qué va esto? Qué gran pregunta. Qué gran pregunta.
But
Te juro,
Stanley
Sampi,
didn't
que es
want to go
imposible
back to the
de
office.
explicar
He
bien.
wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Vale, left. Sampi, es en plan... Es un juego de full narrativa en el que hay un narrador, valga la redundancia, y te va diciendo cosas. Y tú actúas en consecuencia como a ti te dé la puta gana, y ya está. Eres un oficinista que está en su oficina y empieza a hablar el narrador. Y a partir de ahí, magia. No sabría definirlo de otra manera.
No.
¡Eh!
No, it's to the right, my mistake.
¡Puto! Joder.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
¿Y por dónde era?
It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Aquí hay un camión. Vamos por aquí. Estamos en la sala de... Tío.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Sí que es spoiler.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding?
Un par de
It's
porros se queda
rubbish
corto,
now.
tío.
The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Vale, ¿eso ya se considera final? En plan, ese final.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Sí, ¿no?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bueno, no sé qué más me falta, espera. ¿Qué había dicho antes Baltolo que los medio enumeró? A ver. Sin bucket te queda teléfono. Teléfono sin bucket no lo hice entonces, ¿no? Ascensor. Ascensor es el de el 333. Conferencia y bajo las escaleras. Ah, yendo por abajo las escaleras, ¿no? En plan, bajando normal. Reanudar. Ah, vale, ascensor es este, vale. Pero puedo bajar por las escaleras, ¿no? Conferencias ascensor 3 veces. Vale, y el de bajando las escaleras era el de como este que es no se acaba, me parece, ¿no? Que ese no sé por dónde era.
Wait, what? No.
¿Qué?
No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over completely.
Ah, que aún no
fresh.
acabó este.
Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
Claro.
It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
¡Wow! Yo quiero ir por un sitio nuevo. Por aquí. Tío, la puta oficina, chaval. Ah, es por
I'll
aquí.
say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we just Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I
Buah, ya
find
me
it
acuerdo de
unlikely
este
that we'll
final.
ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ya me acuerdo de este final, tío.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Y ahora volví a pasar, tío.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Vale. Vamos a ver. ¿Quién tiró el café, tío?
Aha!
¡Eh!
I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
Tengo miedo. ¿Qué?
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Me jodas, bro. Me estás puto mareando, tío. Tío, me está empezando a venir un mogollón de déjà vus, tío. Y con este final recuerdo que había flipado. ¿Qué cojones?
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this.
No lo
place at
recordaba
all.
así.
Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Vamos!
Congratulations! I know
Yay!
you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
Bien.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that
Yeah.
win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Stanley Parable 2 Adventure
All right,
Line. Wow.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
Vale.
Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Exacto. Más fácil imposible. ¿Eh? ¿Y si voy por aquí? Es que le va a dar fuerte, tío.
No, I'm done. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Se cansó, tío. A ver, voy a seguir la línea, voy a portarme bien. ¡Wow! ¡Wow! Solitario.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa.
Te está dando, bro.
That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
¡Wow! Tú, tú, tú. Tú, tú, tú. Se viene.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
El helecho.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Vale. Seguimos.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Sí que se lo fumaron. ¡Hostia! Aquí otra vez.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Fuera. Ahora ya no pone 2.
You know what, Stanley?
Eh?
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Por aquí, vale. Me sirve.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path.
Oh,
a
¿y si
new
saltas?
story.
A
Well,
ver.
it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use
Podré.
your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley.
No te
I'm
dejan.
ready for it.
No se puede. No se puede, tío. No. ¿Hola? ¡Wow!
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Ella teme. Bueno.
A choice. We get to make a decision. From
Okay.
here, the story is in our control. How
Perfecto.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay.
Vale.
So I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right,
Sí que se le corrió la
let's
patata.
ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
El final de la confusión. Durante 18 minutos.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I
no lo
won't
hagas?
do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we
Sí.
break the cycle?
Lo hemos hecho, bro.
Whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
Pues nos quedamos tú y yo.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if
Sí,
we're in
más
the
o menos.
destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
¡Joder! ¡Qué susto, tío! Chavales, creo que se os cayó un papel al suelo.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo?
Perdiste los
He could no
papeles.
longer recall.
Papers, please. ¿El bucket? ¿Lo pilló? No, vale, no. Perfecto, tío, Baltolo. Ventana, teléfono, vale. Pero, espera. Vamos a hacer teléfono, creo, primero.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vale, teléfono era por aquí.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to
Good
get
idea.
back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Hay que ir por allá ahora.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Sí,
I'm
tú
not
ganas de ir
trying
por
to
ahí,
be,
tío.
really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Que sí, bro.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Wow.
That's her, Stanley.
Aquí.
You need to be the one to do this.
Veamos. Ay. Oh.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
¡Joder!
Gotcha.
Tío, qué mal rollo.
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Bajo escaleras, teléfono, ventana y conferencia. Me da algo. ¡Ay, Dios!
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
F para mirar la televisión. F.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Ve para preparar la cena.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Oh. O sea que el juego del bebé se llama The Stanley Parable, ¿o qué? Otra es una historia de tus hijos.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Vale.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Es una vida triste, ¿eh? Para irte a dormir.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Vale.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Okay.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
A tomar por culo. Vale. ¿Qué me falta? Ay, espérate. Esto no acabó.
All of his co-workers were gone.
¿Eh?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Cómo que se acabó, tío? Ah, vale. Vale, es que ahora que lo dices me suena. Vamos. Vale, ¿qué me falta entonces? Bajo las escaleras, ventana que no puedes efectivamente y conferencia, vale. Bajo las escaleras voy. Ascensor del despacho.
When
Vale.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
vale,
entered the
por
door
aquí.
on his left.
Bajo las escaleras son bajando las escaleras de por aquí, ¿no? La que... El final este que es
Yet there
como...
was not a single person
lioso.
there either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
Este.
hoping he might come
Que
into
es el
a staircase.
infinito, el del
Stanley
bucle.
walked upstairs to his boss's office.
¿Aquí algo?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers
Yo me acuerdo de
blinking
este final.
mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of
Ahí
his
creo que
tongue.
podías
He just
volar o algo
hadn't
así,
found the
¿no?
words for
Me
it.
suena.
I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying
Esto sí.
and began to gently float above the ground. Then
Wow.
he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the
Ya,
strangest
museo no lo
question
hice,
of
es
them
verdad.
all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
El de museo igual
Why
molaba dejarlo
is
para el
there a
final.
voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream.
A ver, sí o sí tampoco, en plan, si hay alguno que me dejo, pues no pasa nada. Porque es- los originales los hice todos. Pero no sé si queda alguno nuevo que se pueda hacer.
As he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else
Ese,
would
claro.
the voice explain all
Un
that?
momento. Claro, es que yo imagino que habrá alguna especie de true ending de verdad, ¿sabes? True ending. ¿Sabes?
This
Yo imagino
voice
que
was
algo
a
tiene que haber. Pero no sé si tengo que hacer todos los finales. Yo por eso quería hacerme todos los finales. Pero no sé si hay que hacer otra cosa y no hace falta hacer todos los finales, ¿sabes? No sirve para nada, vale. Más que para verlos. No, no sé si era sacando todos los finales previamente. O sea, me lo estaba yo suponiendo. Pero no lo sé. Si se... Pero ¿es viable hacerlo todo hoy? ¿O tendré que dejar también un poco para otro día? ¿Ah, sí? Vale, pues por mí lo hacemos, sí.
Surely, if he could just...
Acabamos este
He
final y
would
le
prove
damos.
it. He would prove that he was in control.
Cierro el juego de todo. Salí al menú, ¿no? Toma por culo. Alt F4. Toma por culo. Soy al escritorio. Aquí. Ya está cerrado del todo. Uf, me acojoné, tío. Claro, es que ahora que tengo todos los estos, los coleccionables, a lo mejor hará otra cosa ahora. A ver lo de la hora. Que no puedo elegir la hora que yo quiera, ¿no? Chloe, vamos a elegir nuestra hora. Desarrollo Kraus. Esto lo juega anteayer, correcto. Ah, no me deja poner... No me deja, Chloe. Pero lo pondré en formato PM. Que sería así. Te digo que justo es esa hora. Tu hora favorita. O sea que no pudiste resistirte y me diste la hora correcta otra vez. No. Puede todo, sé que disfrutas de poner la hora correcta. Ahora quiero saber qué tan precisa es la hora 3:18. Usemos otra barra deslizante. ¿Qué? A ver, es ligeramente imprecisa. Así. Sin importar la precisión del reloj, lo estoy pasando genial ajustando estas configuraciones. Siento que estoy conociéndote mejor y entiendo cómo te gustan las cosas. A ver, ligeramente, es que podrían ser muchas más horas de diferencia, ¿sabes? Solo son 3 horas. Podrían ser 10 horas, ¿sabes? Reunir datos es bueno. Ojalá tuviera más barras deslizantes, pero ya las usamos todas. Quizá pueda inventar algunas barras deslizantes nuevas para reunir más datos sobre ti. No debería ser muy difícil. Sí, voy a crear algunas. Deberían estar listas para la próxima vez que inicies el juego. A ver. Ahora tengo curiosidad. A ver. Vamos a ver esas barras. Dame barras, dame barras. Usted barra deslizante hasta que el computer se apenas visible. Vale, esta es la mítica. Ajusta la barra deslizante hasta que el perro y el gato sean amigos. Ahí. Ajusta la barra deslizante hasta que el número 5 se convierta en el número 9. ¿Qué? Realmente eso no era 9. O sea, sí, pero no. Ahí está, es esta. Pero a ver qué más cosas hay. Oh, ¿y si me voy a casa? Ahí. Justa barra deslizante hasta que el número, hasta que el menú cambie. A ver. No cambia. Bro. ¿Cuál de estas dos palabras inventadas te resulta más interesante? ¿O cuboincal o frimósico? Esta que tiene tilde. No ajustes la barra deslizante. Vale. ¿Sabes qué hora es en este momento? Sí. La hora de las tortas. La hora que es en este momento es la hora correcta. La hora que es en este momento es la hora correcta. ¿Sí? Supongo. A ver, técnicamente no. Le voy a dar a que sí. Es que esto es full filosófico, tío. Le voy a decir, le voy a decir que no. Bueno, ¿y qué es el tiempo? Como que sí y no. Sí. ¿Algo acerca de ti que no me hayas dicho? No. Bueno, vamos a decir la verdad, sí. Ayuda. No. ¿Volverás a visitarme? Sí. Qué mal rollo, tío. Ah, entonces... ¿Y ahora salgo y entro? A ver. Vamos a volver a visitarle. A ver. Estoy aquí, bro. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Alguien lo sabe en verdad? Claro que no, nadie sabe nada. Tú y yo ni siquiera nos conocemos, somos como desconocidos. Sí, ajusté todas las configuraciones del juego exactamente como querías, pero ¿quién no lo ha hecho? Es lo que hago, es mi trabajo. Y ahora el trabajo está hecho. No tengo más información que reunir, ya conseguí de ti todos los datos que puedo. Y sigo sin saber quién eres en verdad. Y tú no sabes quién soy yo. Y ninguno de nosotros sabe qué hora es. Supongo que algunas configuraciones son inconfigurables. Pero para serte sincero, el reloj no hace nada en el juego de todos modos. No estaré aquí la próxima vez que inicies el juego, pero no pasa nada. ¡No! Los videojuegos están hechos para que se jueguen en soledad. Te gusta estar en soledad, ¿no? Quizá eso sea lo único que realmente sé de ti. Bueno, es hora de que me vaya. Hay una configuración más que debemos ajustar, pero todavía no estoy en condiciones de hacerlo. No es mi trabajo, pero no pasa nada. Quizás me veas de nuevo, si puedes encontrarme. Hablar pronto. Tendré que entrar en el juego... ¿Qué? ¡Epílogo! Ahora me ponen epílogo aquí. A ver, tendré que entrar en iniciar partida y darle a configuración. O tendré que ir a donde estaba el epílogo a aquel sitio. ¿Sabes? ¿Sabes dónde digo? ¿Dónde estaba el epílogo aquel? Vale, igual esto me lleva directamente. A ver, primero le voy a dar aquí, a ver si me llega directamente o no. Voy a darle aquí. A ver. Epílogo. El famoso epílogo. Muchísimos años después. A ver. ¿What? Marte, tío. Joder. Pues nada, Minecraft, tíos. Dios. El desierto gerudo de Locarina, tío. ¡Oh! ¡Qué bonita! ¡Ah, chugüeña! La casa, tío. No me jodas, déjame llegar, Me está dando mal rollo esto, ¿Y eso? A ver. ¡Eh! ¡Estás aquí, bro! ¡Vamos! Hostia, acabaste aquí, amigo. Nuestro cubito. ¿Qué os aquí detrás de la casa, tío? Yo hice ese ending porque te lo vi. Así que ni me fijé en esto, en mi... Hostia, claro. Wow. Vamos aquí. Yo quiero subir arriba. ¡Eh! Hostia, pensé que era un camión, tío. Pues vamos a los recuerdos, tío. A ver. Buah, está todo destruido, tío. Es lo que queda de Stanley 2. Pues vamos a disfrutarlo, tío. Vamos a puto disfrutarlo. Reseña de Stanley Parable 2, publicado el 27 de abril por Cookie. Este es el que había puesto la reseña aquella, ¿no? De mierda. Como tantas otras personas, disfruté jugando el Stanley original, lo cual realza la tremenda decepción que es la secuela. El primer juego estaba repleto de originalidad, pero el Stanley Parable 2 es burdo, carece de inspiración y a menudo es un insulto a los fans. En vez de profundizar en lo que hizo disfrutar el primer juego, la secuela se desvía hacia algo que nadie quería. Un agujero infinitamente profundo. ¿A quién le importa? ¿Dónde están los finales nuevos? ¿Qué pasó con las partes disfrutables de Stanley Parable, como la línea de aventura? Ahora hay una misión secundaria aburridísima en la que debes recoger figuras. Incluso esta distracción parece incompleta. No recibes nada por recoger figuras. Literal, amigo Cookie. Name. Tradiciones de Stanley Parable. Basta de spin-offs, basta de secuelas. Cuando Stanley Parable se lanzó en el 13 y se convirtió en un gran éxito, sus creadores hicieron planes para convertir el título en una saga. Pero la desastrosa recepción crítica y comercial de Stanley Parable 2 hizo que los desarrolladores repensaran sus ambiciones, según expresan en un comunicado de prensa que se publicó hoy. Está claro que los fans no quieren más Stanley, expresa el comunicado. Creímos que nuestra visión de la saga entusiasmaría a los jugadores, pero resulta que no podríamos haber estado más alejados de la verdad. A continuación, los desarrolladores prometen preservar la integridad artística del juego original y dejar de atacar a los fans con nuestras imprudentes e insultantes visiones creativas. La expresión "lo sentimos" aparece más de 25 veces en el comunicado. La historia de los videojuegos. Ya, tío, es el botón de Jim. ¡Hostia! ¡Qué susto, tío! Yo que fui a hacer el mongol. Hay más de Jim allí. Me cago. Wow, bonito, las figuras. Give me that shit. Oh. Wow. 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 Vale, ojalá haya más figuras, tío. Mi puto sueño. What? ¡Hola de nuevo! Gusto en verte. Pero es terrible descubrir que jamás habrá otro juego de Stanley Parable. ¿Leíste lo que dijeron los desarrolladores? ¿Preservar la integridad de la serie? ¡Qué ridiculez! Dios, ¿por allá no había otro camino? Es que dije, voy a venir aquí un momento. Espero poder volver para atrás. De Stanley Parable no es algo sagrado que haya que proteger. Al diablo con el legado. Sigamos haciendo juegos de Stanley Parable hasta que explote el sol. Hundamos esta serie. Arrastrémosla por el lodo. ¿Y si la gente lo odia? ¿A quién le importa? Verás, ese era el problema del narrador. Está obsesionado con lo que la gente opinaba de su obra. No cometas el mismo error. No te aferres al legado. Deja que arda. No es difícil. Te mostraré cómo hacerlo. Juntos vamos a hacer Stanley Parable 3. Es sencillo, solo tenemos que cambiar el juego en la pantalla inicial del juego. También necesitamos un subtítulo de lo más idiota para el juego, algo llamativo y de mal gusto. Adelante. Combina estas palabras aleatorias y crea un título nuevo para nuestro juego. De Stanley Parable 3. Más allá del... El del... Un nuevo tipo de... Empleado del... El último... El paraíso del... ¿No te salieron estas? Stanley A ver, vamos a hacer el juego del año, os lo juro, ¿eh? De Stanley Parable 3. Ya lo tengo. De Stanley Parable 3. El último recaudador de impuestos. Ese va a ser. Es absurdo, me encanta, a mí también. Cada vez que reinicies el juego, adelantaremos en uno el número de la secuela y elegiremos un nuevo subtítulo. Claro, tío. Para los fans que dicen, no, tío, otro Stanley, que no muera la saga, pues ahí lo tenéis, tío. Es el mismo puto juego, pero le cambias el numerito y el subtítulo. Y nada del juego en sí mismo cambiará cuando hagas esto. Agregar más contenido suena trabajoso, no hace falta. Sea el mismo contenido, reciclando una y otra vez, con una nueva pantalla inicial. ¿Qué te parece? ¿Avanzamos con este plan? A mí me gusta, pero quiero conocer tu opinión. Hagámoslo. Bien, está decidido. Una nueva secuela cada vez que inicies el juego. ¿Y sabes qué? Como depositaste tu fe en mi idea, yo también quiero darte algo. Veo que el narrador nunca encontró la manera de darte el logro averiado, ¿no? ¿Ojo? Claro que no, ni debes saber cómo hacerlo. Me ha estado molestando, vamos a solucionarlo. Listo, ya está, la máquina de logros está reparada. ¿Ves? Estoy de tu lado, somos un equipo. Vamos a hacer que este tren nunca se detenga. Stanley Parable no puede terminar, solo puede girar alrededor de sí mismo para siempre. Debo hacer que la rueda siga girando. Estoy listo, ¿y tú? Genial, solo tenemos que hacer una cosa más. Introduce la hora actual. Vamos a poner la actual. Uy. Ajusta barra deslizante hasta que la computadora apenas sea visible. Gracias, que disfrutes de Stanley Parable. Estás jugando a The Stanley Parable 3, el último recaudador de impuestos. Claro, y si ahora salgo y entro, va a poner Stanley Parable 4. Vamos a comprobarlo. Vamos a ver. The Stanley Parable 4. Stanley encuentra un... Amor, un televisor. Bien, me gusta el plot. Ay, tengo que haber elegido mujer, tío. Porque sale aquí, bueno, amor. Esto es buenísimo, tío. Ya, me salté el 3, tío. Solo te queda una cosa por hacer. A ver, vamos a hacer uno más. Tío, esto es divertidísimo. Esto es la polla, tío. Hasta el 8, vale. Easter egg en el 8, vale. Pensé que era coña lo que decía. Guión, David Graham. Stanley Parable 5. Carrera al destino de él, historia de él, más allá de necesitas más. De Stanley Parable 5. El destino del teléfono. Bardo streameando. Vale, cuando llega al 8 lo inicio, ¿no? Vale. Es bonito este, ¿eh? Vamos. De Stanley Parable 6. Mitad empleado, mitad maratonista. Y es que no queda bien con el hielo esto. Si me voy a salir hielo, le pongo el hielo. ¿Qué cojones? Dios, qué estruendoroso, tío. Mitad empleado, mitad maratonista. Adiós. Ha estado bien. Vamos a ver el 7 qué tal. El 3 me moló algo. El 4 y el 5 bajó, pero luego en el 6 y el 7 mejoró la saga, ¿eh? De Stanley Parable 7. Trimestre sin él. El bebé del espacio exterior. Cha, cha, cha. ¿Qué cojones, tío? Qué fumada, tío. Este mazo, fuera coñas, ¿eh? Yo ponme como él. Adiós. Vale, ahora tengo que iniciar juego, ¿verdad? En el 8. Ok. De Stanley Parable 8. Ahora con más veneno. ¡Pa! ¡Wow! Temazo. La verdad le queda bien. Estás jugando a Stanley Parable 8, ahora con más veneno. Podría ser Too Fast Too Furious, tío. Va a iniciar partida. Claro, por lo del logro este del 8.
Hold on. What's this?
¿Qué?
8. 8. 8. 8.
The Stanley Parable 8? No, 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 no. This doesn't look right at all.
8.
The Stanley Parable takes place in an office building. There are doors and branching
8.
paths. This is just a button that says 8.
8.
Where did the Stanley Parable go?
8.
Mira, se fue aquí.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
Creo que aquí acaba, ¿no?
8. 8. 8. 8.
Ya, esto se explica en el 6, tío. Eso tendría sentido. Wow, ¿puedo ir por ahí? Oh.
8. 8. 8.
I'm looking around and I really can't find the game anywhere. No boss's office or mind
8.
control facility or any of that. Literally just this 8 button.
8.
And what's worse is that you seem to be having a better time with this nonsense game than with the story I wrote for you.
8.
I'm actually a little insulted.
8.
Toma insulto.
8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8.
Toma tu 8, tío.
8.
Estoy de puta madre aquí, ¿eh?
8.
Uy.
8. 8.
Pues nada, habrá que seguir con el 8.
8.
Well, I don't know what happened to the Stanley Parable or what the 8 button is, but apparently you're having a riveting time with it. And
8.
frankly, I don't even want to pander to someone who finds this enjoyable.
8.
So with that, I guess just go ahead and enjoy the Stanley Parable 8.
8. 8. 8.
Disfrutar un nuevo contenido,
8.
tíos.
8. 8.
Es que el bebé me está dando mucha angustia,
8.
tío.
8. 8. 8. 8.
8.
8.
8.
8. 8.
Pues nada, bro. Disfruta del Stanley 8.
8.
8, perdón.
8. 8.
Bueno, este ha sido el final.
8.
Juegazo, la verdad. Stanley Parable 8, mira. Mapa enorme, muchísima variedad en la jugabilidad, muchos controles, gran contenido.
8.
Va pa' Goti, no meme. Vale, ya está, supongo, ¿no? Ahora tendré que salir. ¿Verdad? Es que aquí no me dice nada más, tío.
8.
Supongo que esto será easter egg. Así, ya está.
8.
Pues muy bien. Pues nada, salimos. Muy bien. ¿Hay algo más que tenga que hacer? El logro roto. Ah, es verdad. Claro, ¿y cómo lo haré? En configuración. Tendré que ir. A ver, espera, ¿qué me pone en la descripción de Steam? ¡Ah! Volviendo a la máquina. ¡Uf! Espera, tendré que hacer un Stanley Parable 9 para poder seguir jugando. Espera. Tengo que hacer un Stanley Parable 9.
What's this?
Vale, vamos a hacer el 9. ¿Por dónde era? Por New Content era, ¿no? Perfecto, Sampi. Yo haré esto y cerraré, ¿eh? En plan, este final que me queda, el logro y ya está. Vale. De Stanley Parable 9. Stanley y su mejor amigo. ¡Wow! Bonito. Aunque la lluvia lo cortaba, bueno, lo jodía un poco.
This is the stop. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
Antes
go
de las
to the
dos
meeting
puertas,
room.
vale.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Y tengo que pillar el bucket? Ya, me haré que apareciera el cubo. ¿Tengo que pillar el cubo? ¿O da un poco igual? Vale, lo dejo. Ese es un final, vale, ok. Bueno, lo dejé ahí. New content. Wow. Vamos. Vale, vamos al logro.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget
Tío,
this
¿y hasta qué
ultra
número
deluxe
le puedes
nonsense.
añadir
I say we take
al
it
ir reiniciando?
one step even further. Which is
Infinitamente.
why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow. Sería lo suyo, que pudieras hasta infinito.
Far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions. Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel, an entirely new experience built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Ojo, un remake del 2. Os juro que no me acuerdo por dónde era.
Calling
Es
it
en
the
plan
Stanley
avanzar por
Parable
aquí,
2
¿no?
is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2.
Hostia, Stanley Parable
now that's an
427,
artistic
tío.
statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts,
vale.
surely the game
¿Por
will
dónde
sort
era,
of
tíos?
naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Tío, si pones esta hora en el reloj, 3:44. ¿Os acordáis dónde era, tíos? Otra cosa que descubrí. Cuénteme. Vale, ¿por dónde era, Sans? Ve recto, vale. La puerta del maestro, la configuración... Sí, correcto. Una por ahí arriba estaba, ¿verdad? Lo de la puerta que decías. Sí, era subiendo por ahí por un lado. Oh, estamos nosotros allí. Con la imagen de una tía. A ver, estoy leyendo, ¿eh? El cartel del tamaño de un bebé Godzilla te lo dice. Aquí, vale. Es verdad. Joder, no lo veía, tío. O sea, lo veía pero no lo había leído. Pero estaba esperando a ver si me decía algo Baltolo. Aquí está, tío. El nuevo Unlockable. Achievement. Vamos. Unlockable. Free Achievement. Get yours right now. Aquí está. Dame mi puto
Now,
achievement.
here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident?
Sí, sí, después voy
I'm
allí.
developing a technology
Wow.
to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
¡Wow! ¡Vamos!
As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... What? Wait. What in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched?
Qué mal rollo,
Oh,
tío.
God. Composure, composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
Vi que sale cuando tocas cada uno de los apartados. Ah, eso era un logro. Eso tenía pensado hacerlo, pero no en stream. Pero si es para abrir aquí, de puta madre. Es que leí que un logro. Espera, deja ver los logros. 6 logros de 11. Deja ver cuáles faltan. Bueno, falta el mítico, obviamente. Completa de Stanley Parable. Esto aún no está. Esto no lo tengo hecho. Dirección: juega Stanley Parable durante todo un martes. ¿Cómo que todo un martes? Completa Stanley Parable en menos de 4 minutos y 22 segundos, sin contar los tiempos de carga. Configura todas las barras deslizantes del menú en todos los SS. Esto lo había leído el otro día. O sea, pero todo un martes tienes que tenerlo abierto. Todo un martes entero. Vale, vamos a subir allá. Todo, o sea, desde las de 12 a 12. Sé que son las barras, pero por si acaso hago eso también. Oh. Esta ya la había tocado la otra vez. Bueno, espera, esta a lo mejor cuenta. Uy, espera. ¿Esto estaba así? Creo que sí. ¿Eh?
This is the story of a man named...
Vale, esto no creo que sean. Son las barras, ¿no? Espera, ¿cómo era el logro exactamente? Todas las barras deslizantes. Vale. Debería estar, ¿no? No me saltó. ¿Cuál me falta? Este lo hice, tío. Estos también. ¿Cuál me falta, tíos? Ah, cambié el valor a lo mejor. A ver. Vamos a probar. Hay una escondida. Es que la escondida la vi, tío. ¿Qué era esta? Esa está escondida. Pero igual hay otra más escondida. Aquí no hay ninguna escondida. No sé, tíos. ¿Y luego no te saltó? No. Ah, configura todas las barras del menú en todos los números disponibles. No lo estaba haciendo bien, tíos. En todos los números. No lo estaba haciendo bien. No lo estaba haciendo bien. No me salta, tío. ¿Me faltaría alguna por aquí? Ah, aquí te dan otra barra. Claro, pero ¿cómo entro aquí? Vale, vale. Pues a saber, tío. ¿Alguien sabe cómo es? Bueno, Sans en teoría lo iba... ¡Eh! Ah, vale. Espera. Porque esto ahora lo activé yo. Ahí. Viewer of hidden options behind the show subtitles and show translation labels. A ver, espera. Ah, lo de mostrar subtítulos. A lo mejor esa creo que no la hice. Esta sí. Mostrar subtítulos, esta sí. Esta sí la había hecho. Y la de las labels también. Ah, hay que tocar todo. Vale, todo. Vale. 77. Lo vamos a hacer bien. 77. Vale. Ahí, ya está. Ya me saltó. Había que tocar este también. Me faltaba eso. Ya está. ¡Wow!
Aha! I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion Achievement. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2,
Whoa.
I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider,
Vale.
and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the details out later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
You are the champion of setting all the possible numbers. Please enjoy this room. This is your room. It was made just for you. They will never set the settings slider. Sorry, push your setting. Vale, pues vamos a ver la nueva setting. Vale, esta es mi habitación. A ver. ¿Dónde está? A ver. Aquí, viscosidad. 12, 50, 76. ¿Qué? Esto es puto nada, tío. Me lo estaba oliendo. Esto es puto nada. $76. Es puto nada, tío. Como no vuelves aquí con el bucket y vayas a por otro bucket, no se me ocurre nada más. Puedo probar eso y dejarlo ya. Venir aquí con el bucket y pillar otro bucket. A ver, vamos a probar eso. Empezar de cero. ¿Y sigo teniendo eso? Sí. Pues vamos con 12.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Ah, Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he...
Vamos.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
A ver, supongo que irás allí y no está el bucket. Imagino. Vale, si a alguien se le ocurre algo más aparte de eso, en plan... Que se le ocurra no, más bien que lo sepa a ciencia cierta. Pues yo creo que ya está todo. Obviamente quitando los finales antiguos y eso.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
¿Esto por qué no me salió antes? O sea, en su momento lo vi, pero antes cuando fui allí, ¿no?
In 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Ajá.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Wait, Stanley. I've just now
Vale, porque es para hacer otro
Bucket
final
you're
que no
holding.
hice, ok.
It's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel.
Ah, es el que estás desarrollando para mi secuela. ¿Cómo lo encontraste?
Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already? This
Magia.
makes no sense at all. Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
Vamos.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Del 14, tío.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game? Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly.
Correcto.
Yes. You carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win! I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket
Gracias a
is
ti.
the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, 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 I win.
Muy bien. Vale, y ahora puedo volver y conseguir otro bucket en teoría, ¿no?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Vale.
Perhaps he had simply missed. Is Stanley without the bucket?
Vamos a hacerlo ya para
Stanley
despedir
at
el
all?
juego, tío.
No, surely not.
Aquí estamos.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Yay. Vamos a por otro bucket, tíos.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel.
Tío, la verdad el juego está muy
New
currado,
experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be.
También te digo,
But
se tuvo que
let's take a
fumar
look at some of the features I've
20
been
porros más que el
developing
primero.
for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting
Pero se los
concepts,
fumó bien.
that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are.
Vale, aquí.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
A ver. El bucket. ¡Eh!
Wait, there are 2 buckets here. How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is
Ahora.
already so great, so intoxicatingly wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me?
¿Qué?
Stanley!
¿Qué?
Oh, thank God, I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much. I had to destroy both of them. I know
Toma por
how
culo.
much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk.
Pues nada,
I
funao.
hope one day you can forgive me.
Pero yo quiero mi bucket, tío. Pues ya está. No se puede tener 2 buckets, ¿no? Muy bien. Pues nada. Despedimos el juego con el bucket funao, tío. Que nos quede ahí en la retina. No puede haber 2 buckets, solo hay uno, tío. Solo existe un dios cristiano. Hasta dentro de 10 años, tío. Tengo que hacerme los otros finales. No lo voy a hacer aquí, obviamente, pero es... Juega a Stanley Parable durante todo un martes. Esto va a ser una fumada, tío. ¿Qué día es hoy? Domingo. O sea, pero tienes que tenerlo abierto de verdad todo un martes. No voy a poder hacer eso. No puedo hacer stream. No puedo hacer stream, tío. A ver, si es por, en la consola, sí. En la Switch, sí. Es que cuanto más lo tarde en hacer, más voy a tardar lo de los 10 años, tío. Ya, el speedrun sí que lo puedo hacer. Sin contar los tiempos de carga. No me sale de configurar todas las barras deslizantes del menú. Ahora no me sale. No se lo he actualizado aquí en el shift tabulador. Termina el juego. Y termina el juego como lo completo. Ah, bueno, sí, pues en 10 años los puedo hacer. Ah, va, el final original. Vale. Sí, cuando haces full caso. Sí, cierto. Pues yo voy a hacer lo mismo que tú, Sans. Los que me quedan los voy a hacer dentro de 10 años. Y a tomar por culo. Pues muy bien, chavales. Ve a pisar el césped. No juegues a Stanley Parable durante 10 años. Pues nada. Empezar aquí el día, tío. Ahí está. Es verdad. Igual puede que incluso tenga el ordenador incrustado en mis retinas, tío. No tenga que tener ningún ordenador. Vale, bueno. Ah, se me ocurre que lo del martes lo podría hacer con la Steam Deck, tío. Dejarla ahí abierta, ¿sabes? Buah, de puta madre, tío. Ya está. 22:05. Tío, me voy a poner una alarma en el móvil, tío. Para dentro de 10 años. Os lo juro, ¿eh?